I hope you had a nice Labor Day weekend. My family, my dad and mom, I went down to visit them on Monday, and they said, "Oh, we're going to go out on the river down in Columbia on kayaks, because they have some kayaks." And I said, "Okay, I'll go." So they didn't invite me, but I said, "Okay, I'll go." So I went, and we went out, and they normally drop off at one point and then just go down the river and then have another thing to do. But we didn't have time to do all that. So we started at one place and decided to go up the river and then to come down. Well, so we started going, and it took a while. We started, if you're familiar, at the old bridge and then went to the Route 30 bridge, which isn't very far, but when the current is all coming down towards you, it's really rough. So we were going to go up to one of the islands and go around the island and then like float down, no problem. But going up was tough. So I was kind of going, and I was very proud because I was beating my parents. They're in the mid-70s. But so I was kind of got up, and I got up around to the top of this island, and I was going, but it was tough. I was like really having to do this thing. And I noticed my dad was kind of a little distance back, and my mom was kind of further back. She was just like leisurely kind of going like this. So I got to the top of the island, and I floated down, and I came back around. I said, well, I'm going to do that again, because my mom and dad were still making their way up. So my dad, finally, he was at the top, and he was in a cove watching down. And my mom was just like going like this. And I thought, well, she's going pretty fast. And then I got next to her, and she was actually going backwards. She was not going fast at all. She was just, and she didn't care. Meanwhile, my dad, in the cove, straight ahead, was like yelling something. But because Route 30 was above, we couldn't hear her. And my mom said, what's your father saying? I said, I don't know. But he was like kind of like just, so I like kind of got up there, and the whole time he's like making all kinds of things. And I got up to where he was, and he said, your mom, she has to paddle faster. I was like, I think she knows that. But so she's like making her way up, and she's still kind of like going backwards. It was like the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy's in the house, and she sees the Wicked Witch like riding her bike, and she's actually going backwards, but she's anyway, that's what it looked like. So she finally got up there, and my dad is waiting for you. He goes, Karen, why didn't you paddle? You have to paddle faster. She's like, I know that. So anyway, we had this whole thing. We had a wonderful Labor Day. So no, it was an awesome time. I just had to. I don't think my parents are here. Good. Oh, we're live streaming. So anyway, so the encouragement that she got going up, which was encouragement because my dad's always trying to help and everything. It was rough paddling, and he was trying to help her out in the way that he could. Well, brothers and sisters, as Christians and as Catholics, we're all paddling up against the current in every way possible. The way in which we are told to live is not the way in which most people are going. We have to paddle against it in some times. At some events. And sometimes in our life, people will not like where we're going. So we won't have encouragement. We will be going by ourselves. And so we need the help of others to at least encourage us, to let us know that we have people who support us, that we're not doing this just on our own. And those people are us. It has to be us. It has to be the parish. If it is not the person who is next to us in these pews, who will it be? Who will encourage us? Paige, you want to help? You raised your hand? That is so awesome. You'll encourage me, right? All right, and I'll encourage you, right? That's the way it works. If it's not the people sitting here in this church encouraging us in living the Christian life, who will it be? Jesus tells us in the gospel that we need people who encourage us, who tell us when we're going off on the wrong path. Not as a judgment, not as a finger in the chest. Hey, look at me. I'm better than you. You need to follow me. But hey, listen, these are the words of Christ. A lot of people might be going that way, and it might be easier, and it might not be as hard. But I want to encourage you to go the right way, and I want you to walk with me. I want to help you live that life. And conversely, we need to be open to accepting when people tell us when we're going off on the wrong path. I don't like to be told when I'm doing something that's not right. I don't like to be told that I'm off doing something wrong. I get rather defensive. But if I'm living a Christian life, I need to do what the gospel tells me. I need to do what Jesus says. I need to be able to accept when someone tells me, hey, listen, Tim, I want to walk with you because you're not going the right way. Brothers and sisters, the church is also our guide. Not just this church, not just our parishioners, but the church, the teachings of Jesus Christ through the church. Jesus tells us this. A lot of people will say, oh, the church is just some made-up thing that came about after Jesus died. No, Jesus tells us about the church in today's gospel. He says, if people are off on the wrong track and you tell them and other people tell them, you tell the church. And the church will be their guide. And if the church is not their guide, then they're not in the church. This is tough, but the church has to be our guide. Jesus says, if people aren't living and don't want to be guided by the church, this is tough. We must be guided by the church. And even when it's difficult for us, even when we don't want to, even when we have a disagreement with or an understanding of that is contrary, we have to be guided by the church because we believe, that's why we're here, that the church is the words of Jesus Christ. The church is the teaching of Jesus Christ. And so, brothers and sisters, let's support each other in that. It is difficult. It is hard. Even when we want to live it, it is hard. We're paddling upstream, and sometimes it's easy to just give up and float down with everybody else. But that is not what we are called to live. That is not the way. And so let us encourage one another with words of encouragement and kindness and support in living the Christian life, or else we will float away from the church, from Jesus Christ, from the kingdom of heaven. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.